Hello, everyone. It is a wonderful Monday, and we have a wonderful 10 questions with for you today. In this series, we actually chat with entrepreneurs and business leaders to ask about their journey and the lessons they've learned along the way, with the hopes of helping all of you who are tuning in and imparting some advice for all of us in our journey as well. Now, today we will be joined by Mikaella Go. She is the co-founder of Vessi Footwear, the company that made the world's first 100% waterproof knit shoe. Go will chat with us about why and how she helped start the company, the obstacles and lessons learned along the way, as well as the things that Vessi is doing to make a footprint in footwear. Now, before we invite her on, I want to remind all of you that are tuning in, if you have any questions throughout our conversation, make sure to ask them. Use the comments, and we'll get to as many of your questions as we can at the end of today's interview. And also shout out to us. Give us a hello. Tell us where you're tuning in from. We know that you're tuning in from all corners of the world, and we want to give you a shout out right back. Now, please join me in a very warm virtual welcome for Mikaella Go. Hi, Mikaella. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Kendall. Thanks for having me today. I'm really excited. Super
excited for you to be here. Hey, where are you tuning in from? Or where are you tuning in?
Vancouver.
Where are you joining us?
Vancouver, Canada.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, I gave our viewers some insight into Vessi Footwear, but I always think it's important to hear the elevator pitch straight from the founder. So what is Vessi in your own words?
You did an amazing job, Kendall, explaining what Vessi is. But as you mentioned, Vessi is the world's first 100% waterproof knit shoes. I really think that Vessi is just beyond a footwear company. We're an innovation company, a community-based company. And I'm really excited to share with you all our journey today.
I am super excited to dive into it. So why don't we do that right now? I'm going to start with question number 1. You founded Vessi in 2017 with your 2 other co-founders, Andy and Tony. How did the idea for Vessi come about? Like, what was lacking in the footwear industry that needed to be fulfilled from your perspective?
Yeah, as you guys know, Vancouver, we're in the West Coast. Growing up here, you never really know what the weather is going to be like, right? It could be sunny, like right now, and it could rain later in the afternoon. Right. But, we're looking out in the market and there's nothing really available. It's either you had to wear really clunky, heavy, waterproof boots, or you just get soaked wet socks, right? There was nothing really in the middle where it was comfortable, lightweight, breathable, stylish. And I guess that's where the idea of Vessi came to be. Why can't we create a sneaker you'd want to wear every day, every season, that could last from like summer to winter?
And I love that, because I know for me, whenever I'm traveling, when things open back up, which is hopefully here in the near future, but whenever I'm traveling, it's hard when you're like, oh, it's going to be 80 degrees one day, but then like raining and 75 the next, wherever you're going. And I'm like, I don't want to pack multiple pairs of shoes to have to make it through this, 5-day trip. So I'm a huge fan. But why do you think, moving on to question number 2, why do you think no one had done this before? It seems super obvious to me hearing you talk about it, but what do you think prevented other people from doing this? And what drove your confidence in overcoming the obstacles that they couldn't?
Yeah, so I think there's been other waterproof shoes out there, right? The only problem is that they weren't breathable, they weren't as stylish. Maybe they look like hiking shoes. They really weren't made for everyday wear for you and I right now, for traveling, right?
Yeah.
And so knit was just starting to become popular at the time that we launched. And I think we just entered the market at a really, really great time when knit was starting to become popular. Plus, we were really hyper-focused on creating a new category that fits into our lifestyle. So we were trying to create a product that really fit us. I think that was like what's lacking with other companies, maybe the hyper focus on creating this one new category of footwear. I think like Andy had great background on textile manufacturing and waterproofing, and he knew the footwear category well. And I think we partnered up with great partners that really helped us develop this patented technology that we're able to use now.
Well, and I think we're going to get into it in a little bit, but something that sets you guys apart too is your drive for sustainability. And I'm going to ask about that later, so I don't want to bring it up now, but I think that is a huge factor in what Vessi Footwear is. Now, Vessi is sold online, direct to consumer with the occasional pop-up. But what challenges arise around customer acquisition and retention with a business model like this, and how have you managed those challenges?
Yeah, that's a great question. Being digitally native, first of all, it's so amazing how everything just grew so quickly, right? It's crazy how you can find anything you want online. And on top of that, you can buy anything you want with just a click of a button. And so everyone's on this trend now. And so the space is starting to get crowded, more crowded and crowded. And the challenge is always like, how do you stand out? How do you become a brand? How do you get people to want to look at Vessi? And what we found was customers nowadays are more conscious about what they're wearing, what they're buying, who they're supporting, right? They're not just buying the product just for the sake of buying a product. They're buying a product because they're proud to buy this product. They're proud to wear your things. Right. And so that's really where we're trying to focus it on, is like our customers, right? What really drives them, our community. Like we want to, and they inspire everything that we do within Vessi, down to like the colorways that we choose, which, like everything that we do within like our product drops, our innovation, our creativity, it's down to how our customers tell us what they want to see.
Yeah. What mistakes would you say that you made early on with the customer experience, and how has that shaped the business today? Like, what are your core principles now?
I guess early on, when you first started the company, when you first start a brand, you're like, okay, how do I make money? Like, how do I make money, right? And so I think that's probably like the wrong approach. That's 100% the wrong approach to start a company. It's just like you want to make sure that you create everything for your customers, because at the end, like, they're your brand ambassadors. Like, there is no brand without your customers. And so today at Vessi, being customer focused is one of our core principles, right? We value everything from like the first interaction where you hear the word Vessi to like down to the first puddle that you step on. We want to make sure that every experience you have with us is a great one.
That's great. We have a couple people who are shouting out already. Karen, tuning in from Toronto, and Larry says, Vancouver rules. So if you're tuning in, make sure you give us a shout out. Tell us where you're tuning in from. Again, ask questions. We're here to answer them. We'll be doing so at the end of today's conversation, and we want to know where you're tuning in from. So keep dropping us those comments, and we will be moving right along here. So you took the crowdfunding route with Vessi, and I think that's super important to note. This was actually your 10th company of which you've done this. Why did you stick to this route, and what are the pros and cons of crowdfunding?
First of all, crowdfunding is an amazing platform. That's why we've done it 10 times. It's a great way, to get your ideas out there without having much capital to start with. Like how the process works, you have this great idea. Obviously, you have to create a prototype for it. Then you sell it to the people, see if they want it. You can test for product market fit before you even put in the first order to your factory. So that way you can. So when we did our, funny story. So when we did our first Kickstarter with Vessi, we had prototypes, right? Based out of the prototypes, we figured out, people actually want a certain color shoe. And so before we even make the first PO, we're able to add these feedbacks like right there.
Right.
And so like that way, you can get customer feedback right away. You can see if the product fits. You can see if the price point fits. It's just overall like a really good platform to start collaborating with the people who will be using your product. I guess like the cons on that side is a lot of people think that once you hit that launch button on Kickstarter, things will just happen. And so like most other brands, when you're building a brand, you have to make sure that you get people to look at your brand, right? So like there is a lot of work to do right after you launch that Kickstarter. But it's a great platform.
Yeah, I'm curious. What are the color? What was like the number one color that came out of that you realize people absolutely want and need?
Green shoes and red shoes are really popular.
What? I would have guessed like beige and white or black.
Yeah, It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. All right, moving on to question number 6. Have you gotten to a point where you're looking at other sources to raise capital? And if so, why and how will you go about that?
So we're always open to having conversations with the right people who can add strategic value to the business. But I guess in terms of where Vessi is now and our business needs, we don't need the cash to finance our growth. I think because we got off with a Kickstarter route initially, we've stayed cash flow positive since day one, which is really, really relieving for us.
Yeah, I bet. Question 7, Vessi products are actually designed in Canada, which is where you and your founding team are based, and is manufactured in Asia. So what supply chain challenges arose amid COVID-19? How did you solve them, and how will you mitigate risk in the future?
1 second. So, I mean, with COVID really throwing us a curveball, throwing everyone a curveball, there's all around shipping delays, right? From like components of the different parts of the shoes to like boats being overbooked to delays at port. Also, cost of shipping went up. So like everything was just kind of crazy in the supply chain side. But our great relationships with our manufacturers really helped us forecast these delays earlier on. You know, they would let us know if something was about to come, you know, especially being manufactured there. The lockdown started in Asia, so it was a bit trickier to navigate. But I think where our responsibility really lays is in making sure that we have full transparency in terms of communications with our customers. If we find out that your package is late, like it's our responsibility to let you know that this is what's happening. And I think that's like one of the biggest things that we've learned throughout 2020, and a lot of like our technology stacks is built around making sure that we remain this communication as transparent as possible.
Yeah. With online shopping really skyrocketing in 2020 because of the closures, what did you see at Vessi, and how did you manage order volume and fulfillment, especially with some of those interruptions in the supply chain?
Going back to like my earlier answer was that just like over communication, right? Because our sales did continue to grow as skyrocketing in 2020, even though like we were just really online. Our sales did grow during 2020, and we didn't forecast for that. So we just needed to make sure that we over communicate everything. But I think also having a team that's very nimble and agile is very, very important. And I guess like in 2020, when we start to integrate a lot more different processes and systems, we just have to make sure that, we partner up with the right companies that can scale with us as we build these systems and processes.
Got it. It's funny you actually say that, because I know you guys consider yourself a technology company that uses footwear to drive change towards, sustainable processes. I'm going to get into the technology that you're leveraging on the back end to help you do this. But first, can you tell us about this kind of mindset? How are you operating more sustainably? And what advice do you have for other businesses, especially in retail, who are looking to do the same but don't really know like where to start?
Yeah. Sustainability to us means less waste and creating quality products that actually last. So we focus our sustainability on our material technology. Right now, all of our Vessis don't use any animal byproducts. By that itself, like we have less water consumption and less energy consumption. Our aim is just to have less waste in terms of our materials. Even down to our sustainability, we want to make sure that we consider the materials that we use. We make the proper choices when it comes to it. Our office here, like we want to make sure that we use recycled materials, and encourage our team to do the same. So just living more sustainability in that way. We actually during COVID launched our community fund program. What it is it's a fund actually funded by our customers.
Wow.
It's amazing. And within this fund, we encourage anyone, a customer or not a customer, to pitch us your project. It can be about anything. If you want to start a business, and one portion of it is about sustainability, right? We know that, we may have our limitations in our own team, but if there's great ideas out there in terms of how we can upcycle, how we can do other things. Like we want to hear it and we want to fund these projects so that we create a ripple effect when it comes to innovation and sustainability.
Yeah, that's incredible. I love that. That's great. Now, I'm going back to what you said a little bit earlier, having the right systems and processes in place that are, that are agile and that can grow with you. So how are you leveraging technology that allows you to do that, that fuels your mission while also continuing to provide you, that kind of agility that you need as things change and shift?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as the company continues to grow, we will need more operational decks that need to be managed, right? And then while doing so, giving also our customers a seamless experience. So yeah, finding the right technology that can help us scale it will be super, super crucial at this point of our business. A back end to make sure that we're able to keep that good experience both internally, so like within our systems in here, and externally, what our customers see out there. So NetSuite, we integrated NetSuite about like last year, and it allowed us to integrate multiple parts of our different businesses to give us a bigger holistic picture and understanding on how the company is actually operating. And it's amazing from like a leadership point of view to be able to see different parts of your company and how it all kind of comes together and complements each other, right? Yeah, and then I guess like on top of that, when it comes to technology, like outward facing, we just need to make sure that we're on top of the latest trends in technologies so that we just always remain current.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
We have a bunch of shout outs coming in right now. Jalali tuning in from Denver, the Rockies, Nima. Canada runs NetSuite. So great to hear from co-founder Mikaella Go. Okay, I don't want to mess up this name, but I'm going to give it a shot anyway. From Guru Pada. What is the big, that'll come later. That's a question. So that's not a shout out. I'll get to you in a second. Bruno tuning in from Irvine, Orange County. Jane from Finland. And Franjo, great insights, great work, all the way from Croatia. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Like I said, all corners of the world. We're so excited to have you. Thank you for listening in. And don't stop. Keep shouting out and keep asking questions. We will actually be diving into those right now, Mikaella, if you are ready. So first question here coming in, let's see. With crowdfunding, what happens post-launch? How do you give thanks to the people who've been supporting you and then continue to keep them involved? Great question.
Great question. I guess like post-launch, that's when the real work starts, right? Now you have all these people that really believe in your product, and it's your responsibility to produce what you promised to produce. And that's where the fun starts. For Vessi, we always want to make sure the communication is there even with post-launch, right? So with our Kickstarter campaigns, like Tony, Andy, and I actually visited our manufacturing factory right after the Kickstarter, and we started making videos of like what it looks like in the factory and things like that, just making sure that everyone is kind of involved in every step of the way.
That's great. Okay, so I'm going back to Guru Pada. What is the biggest strategy in overcoming a crisis in cash flow in your business? So I guess if you had some issues in cash flow, like what would you do first?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends like what type of business are you running? Is this business like, are you also like an e-com company? Is there any ways where you can cut back on your spend? Do you have a clear picture of what your, your balance sheets looks like? Just like understanding your business more and seeing where you can be more lean, right? Like we operated as a team of three, team of four for a year before we started even bringing people on, because I think that question is a really big one, but just understanding your business holistically and seeing where maybe the gaps are.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer. We talk about that all the time, understanding what your overhead costs are, understanding where you're able to pull back in some areas. Maybe there's some marketing, spending that you don't need right now, or that's not working right now, right? Especially after 2020, things have changed quite dramatically. So I think that's a great answer.
Absolutely.
We have another question coming in here. How did you measure success early on, and how has that changed today? Yeah,
very, very great question too. So, I mean, for us, it's all about the customer, right? So does the customer enjoy the product? How likely are they to share the product with a friend, right? And will they come back and buy the product again? So like this, if it's good, this kind of gives us like a better understanding that we're doing our job. People are liking this product. And up until today, that still hasn't changed. We want to make sure that we talk to our customers and understand them in order to grow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the key. We have a few more hellos coming in here. We have Sylvia from London and Mohammed from Pakistan. Thank you guys for shouting out. Thanks for tuning in. I think we have one more question that we can get to, and I really want to get to this one because I want to know. Okay, so you've made waves, especially in rain puddles, love that, all over the world. What's the future hold for Vessi?
I can't say too much right now in terms of a lot of things that we're working on, but this year is going to be really exciting for us. We're diving into a few exciting things. Tune in, follow us on Instagram. You'll soon find out. Yeah.
Wonderful. Awesome. Well, Mikaella, this has been so fun. Thank you so much for sharing the Vessi story. And we look forward to the surprises that are coming this year. And thank you so much for joining us.
Amazing. Thanks for having me today. All right.
And as always, a huge thank you to all of you for tuning in. We love to get your shout outs. We love to see where you're tuning in from. It means so much to us. And we just love your participation and continue to do so. In fact, next week, we will be back with the COO of Lunia, Jamie Carlson. That's happening on Tuesday. Tomorrow is Tuesday. That's happening next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific. So we will see you then. Thank you.